these TikTok theories are getting creepier by the day. Let's watch.
Yo, people was at Universal Studios was hearing crazy noises. What? And no, they was not acting. People, how everything got quiet, right?
You saw how quick he was to say, and no, they were not actors. But why she look like she acting? How come everybody look like they faking it? Everybody looking around with this blank look on their face like, what's going on? Where's these sounds coming from? But yet nobody's actually trying to get away from the sounds. If I felt like there was some yelling and screaming that was right there in my ear, I would be trying to run and get away. Nobody's doing that. They all got their phones out waiting for something to happen.
Supposedly it was supposed to be a UFO in the sky, bro.
Supposedly there's a UFO in the sky. Everybody looking up, but what is the cameraman doing? The person that we're viewing this footage from right now. Why isn't the camera being pointed to the sky so we can also see this UFO? Make it make sense.
This been happening in different places all across the world. What just happened? I don't know. It was out of pocket. Wake up!
That is the most mysterious thing you've ever heard. We are all probably in the highest danger. Just 2 weeks ago, a group of tourists was on vacation in the Maldives when they discovered a hidden underwater tunnel that led them to a world wonder. On the third day of their vacation, much like the 2 days before, they went swimming in the sea for an hour in the morning. Suddenly, one of the 4 tourists made an astonishing discovery at about 3 meters deep as he dove. He saw a rock at the edge of the sea through which they could swim. He forced his other 3 friends to swim through it with him. As they swam about 20 meters further, they came across an underwater tunnel that went very deep along the seabed. Excited, they decided to explore the tunnel further. After 5 minutes in the tunnel, they suddenly discovered a door, an indescribable door. When they opened the door and entered, they could not believe what they saw. A room full of military screens controlling the entire world.
A room full of military screens. Okay, so the screens are military, right? What do military screens look like? I got 2 screens right here in front of me, and I wouldn't call them military just because they're screens. Okay, and they're controlling the entire world. How do you know that they're controlling the world? What's being depicted on those screens that would indicate the world is being controlled by these screens alone? Like, oh man, Joe Rogan. I almost felt like that was AI. Somebody took his voice and created a story because his lips wasn't matching the words that was coming out of his mouth.
I don't care if I'm shadow banned, but I'm not gonna stop talking about this.
Uh-oh.
But if I have to keep putting this in your face for you guys to realize like this is a real issue, then I'm gonna keep bothering you about this. It's obviously a part of the agenda, and it goes way deeper than just kids and school.
All right, y'all see this word on the screen? Disgusting. It's beyond disgusting what we're about to hear here. I didn't hear the whole clip. I'm about to hear the rest of it for the first time with you all. But this is disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
English teacher sends out a summer reading material, including gender queer. Okay? Hopefully everybody can see this, yeah? 11 years old.
Whoa!
Hopefully you like this, yeah?
No way! Did y'all look? I'm not going back. If you didn't see it, you didn't see it. That was too disturbing.
You guys over there, because you guys make the decisions over there. Okay, 11-year-old. Disgusting. All right?
Disgusting. Disturbing.
Now, from this book, brother talking to sister. So you never tasted yourself? Sister shows brother vagina slime. Then there's words blowjob, gay shit. This is exactly what I would expect to behave when approaching a child, to normalize sexual behavior, to abuse them. And this is how I see you. Stop sexualizing our kids. Stop abusing them.
How would a book or a magazine or whatever, how would a book like that get into these children's school? How could it not come across a single librarian's hand and they not open it up, look at it and see what's in it and report it or toss it to the side? Something. How does it make it on them bookshelves in them schools? An agenda maybe? Or that book to be almost written as if it was for children? There's no possible way.
CIA doesn't want you to know that this island exists.
I hope you don't eat that sandwich in this dang on video.
It's called San Diego Garcia, and it's located in the Indian Islands. Now check this out. Time magazine actually published about the island, claiming it was where the CIA took its captives. But there's more. Supposedly they ran horrible experiments, but only underneath the island. Now, did you ever hear of that flight that went missing? Malaysian Flight 370? Well, people believe that it actually never disappeared, and that it landed on the island. The CIA then took the people off the plane, captured them, and tortured them, using them for their experiments, but only underneath the island. Now, why do people believe this? The reason was because an IBM employee that actually was on the flight took a picture 10 days after the plane disappeared. The photo looked as though it was taken in an experimental room. Now, you can track where a photo is taken by reading the upload data. Its geolocation.
Why does man always gotta eat during these videos?
And when they checked the coordinates of that photo, it showed that it was taken at Diego Garcia Island.
Well, that was one theory about what happened to the Malaysian flight. Let's listen to another.
They know you won't believe this. Have you ever wondered what really happened to Malaysia Airlines Flight 370? Listen as Dick Gregory explains what he believes really happened to that plane.
Where that was coming from, there's one of the most evil, vicious Navy bases in the history of the planet. They do stuff that would make Hitler look like Santa Claus. Diego Garcia.
The significance of the location of this naval base is very important. So let's listen as Dick Gregory explains Diego Garcia and how it relates to Malaysian Airline Flight 370.
Diego Garcia. That's where that first Malaysian plane is. That's where it landed.
What we just saw was the actual flight path of Malaysian Airline. Notice that it headed northwest and disappeared, and that just so happened to be towards Diego Garcia.
It had 4 scientists on it. Huh? 20 scientists, but 4 had filed for patents. It was Malaysia, but they worked out of Austin, Texas for Texas Instrument. And the ones behind that plane was Texas Instrument, the government, and Boeing, who made the plane. And everybody is stupid enough to believe that a plane almost a block long can just disappear. With the electronics we have, all the technology we have, the next generation of cars will come out, there'll be no driver. So when I was talking to this scientist about it, I said, well, that paddy wagons too. He said, yeah, why you ask that? I said, well, there's just more room to put riders. No, that's where we are. About 10 years ago, I'm with a scientist, and he's saying to me, he said, you know, the smart car, when it come out, there can be no more automobile fatalities. I said, why you don't mess with me, man? They been had that. Why you think airplanes don't run into one another? Huh? That's been here. Okay?
Right.
And so when you stop and think about, you know, the stuff, so we got 4 of those top scientists that had filed for patents worth $400 billion. So if 1, 2, 3 of us and your brother, 4, we filed for patents. And then here's a friend of yours who's with us. So 5 of us filed for patents. If we die before the patent is granted, then your brother, who wasn't on the plane with us, he owns them all. So those 4 scientists, and the 5th person was the Carlyle Group. They own them all now. The patent was granted 3 days after the plane was listed. Okay? And so what I'm saying is, this is a game, and if you can't follow that thread, then you don't see it.
That's crazy. What would that for?
Huh?
What would?
Bro, what? Look, this, I didn't know. I didn't know any of this. So if this is true, that these scientists were on this flight, there would have been logs, there would have been data, there would have been people that known that all of these scientists were going to be on this flight together. We talking $400 billion in patents? Don't think for a second that they wouldn't ruin the lives of a bunch of random people on that flight as well if they wanted to target these 4 individuals. Ooh.
The patents for?
Well, the patents was, you heard people talk about the...
Hold on. The guy interviewing Dick Gregory here asked a very important question. What were the patents for? We got a minute left to this video. Let's hear. Let's find out. Hopefully Dick Gregory tells us.
Patents for?
Well, the patents was, you heard people talk about they're gonna one day inject you and can control you. Well, these guys come up with something, they don't have to inject you. They just put in this room and you come in and you smell it. That's what they were for.
Wait, what did he say? Could he be talking about nanotechnology? I don't know what it is, but it sounds scary. If anyone has any idea what he is referring to, please help us out in the comment section.
And that's why they killed him. They might have not killed him. They might just let him sit there and die.
Let's keep in mind that most of these bases have secret underground levels that go deep into the ground. Could those people be there? You be the judge.
That's one of the things that have fascinated me for years, is the fact that we're capable of building underground. It's like you got to dig a big old hole in the earth, and then you got to put somebody down there to construct this entire facility out of concrete and metal, but do it while underground. Kind of like what he was hinting on here in regards to the man saying that once these smart cars come along, then there will be less fatalities, but yet we got airplanes that don't collide. We've been able to do this type of stuff for years. We've had the technical advances to be able to do many of things that some would deem new for quite some time now.
This is everything that's on a major recall right now, but I'm gonna put it in 60 seconds. People are finding living worms inside their Reese cups that they bought at Walmart. These are not officially on a recall yet, but I wouldn't doubt if they would be. So if you are gonna buy Reese's anytime soon, make sure you check them, because we don't know where they're distributed from, but we do know they're at Walmart.
That's wild, bro. He is out here calling out Walmart, man. Y'all be careful. I was literally in Walmart yesterday. Look, I'm not calling them out, but I'm just saying that I was in there yesterday and I saw them stocking up all that Halloween candy, man. All I could think of, was my stomach ache. Just think about it. You know, I just can't touch none of this candy stuff no more. I done got sensitive to everything.
70 million of these rolling candies are recalled for a very serious reason. This is the blue raspberry flavor. It's what they look like. They're sold all over the place. Every single flavor is recalled, not just the blue ones. Millions of products from the Family Dollar were just recalled yesterday morning. This one's really crazy because it's almost every single over-the-counter medicine and medical device. There are so many items on this recall list that if you have anything medical related from the Family Dollar, it's most likely recalled. A bunch of ice machines on Amazon are also recalled. They look like this. There's a black lid and a blue lid. They make the Sonic ice, like the little nuggets. More than 6,000 air fryers were just recalled, so if you know anybody that uses them, I do these daily news recaps every single day so you can get the news without having to watch it. So make sure you hit the plus on the side of your screen and come back to me tomorrow.
What's going on with the air fryers, y'all? I'm glad I got mine when I did. Hopefully, look, I need to look up and see if there's a recall for mine now.
Okay, here's a story about the time I worked side by side with the Secret Service.
Oh.
And it has to do with this comment right here. Hillary not even alive anymore. It's a body double. Okay, so 23 years ago.
Is this man about to tell us that body doubles are real?
I became a full-time crash fire rescue. So 23 years ago, I became a full-time crash fire rescue firefighter at the 144th Fighter Wing in Fresno, California. So a couple years passed. As a firefighter, I went through some training and became an engineer, which is a driver operator on a crash truck in the Air Force. It's a P-19, ARF vehicle, Aircraft Rescue Firefighting. Okay. That's that big green truck at the airport. If you've ever been to the airport, you see the big green fire truck. That's what I drove. So one time, George Bush was flying into the Fresno airport. He was going to give a speech or something. I can't even remember why he was there at that point. I could give a shit less about politics. I didn't know anything about Democrat or Republican. I was just in the Air Force, and I was a firefighter, and I was serving my country. Anyway, when the Secret Service came in, they used our fire department classroom as their headquarters. They all came in, and they set up all their computers and did their whole thing, and that was their headquarters, basically, for operations. And because I was going to be on duty during the time that Air Force One landed at our airport, if it were to crash, I would be the driver on that crash truck that was responsible for saving the president's life. They brought us in one by one into the alarm room, which is where we get all the calls, and we, call out, tension in the station, tension on the net, blah, 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 bring, hit the bell, and we go out. So they brought us into that room one by one, and so I had to go in there, and I had to sit in a chair like I'm sitting here, Secret Service agent on the other side of me, and they have no sense of humor. They were very serious, and they would ask us a series of questions like, do you have any ill will towards the president? Do you have any thoughts of this and that? And they just ask you a bunch of questions to make sure that you're going to be safe to, one, stay at your own fire department with the Secret Service, and two, if something happens to the president, are you actually going to do what you need to do to save their life? And at the time, I had no idea what George Bush was responsible for, so I was like, yeah, I'm good. I don't have any issue. I'll do my job. And so we got through all of that, and they had been there for a couple days, staging everything. They had snipers across the street on the roofs of buildings, and they had guys everywhere with curlicue things and all kinds of firearms that I had never even seen in my life. And plane lands, and they have two C-5s. It was 2 or 3 C-5s. The C-5 is the largest Air Force aircraft in the Air Force fleet. It's the largest military aircraft in the world. I think the Russians have one. It's called the Kosmonov or something like that. It's like 2 feet longer on the wingspan. It's basically the same airplane. So, but these large body aircrafts, the C-5, they can carry school buses or tanks or semi trucks. They're huge. When you go inside, it looks like the inside of a warehouse. Okay, that's what they bring all of the president's entourage to the airport that they're flying to in. Battery died. Anyway, as the president drives through town to their destination to give the speech or whatever, they will have these Suburbans go in different directions. No, none of this is classified. They didn't tell me that this was secret, that I couldn't say anything about that. There was no national security letter signed or anything, so I'm not divulging classified information. Anyway, they told me that they have a body double, and each one of those looks exactly like the president, and they'll take different routes, and that will throw off, somebody who is trying to harm the president. So that was 20 years ago when I learned that there are body doubles, and there are people that look exactly like the president. Now,
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put it past the government to use body doubles for presidents or vice presidents or whoever they wanted to have a body double for. I wouldn't put it past them to do that. It would make all the sense in the world, but at the same time, I would hate to be a body double because if somebody is indeed targeting the president or whoever may be, shit, and you're the body double, guess what? You gonna get hit first, potentially. Even though the Secret Service would be trying to protect you as if you were the president.
That still goes on. Everybody in the world has several people somewhere in the world that looks just like them. Mm-hmm. So that's how that works. I just thought that I would explain that to you since I have some personal experience seeing that firsthand, and explain that to some of you folks out there that don't, you don't have that type of mind, that type of strategic mind to process that information, or you think that it's just something that people look up on the internet and they just repeat what other people are hearing. So I've been there, done that, seen it in person, and I'm explaining that to you now so you know. People have body doubles.
This is one of those things where here you have somebody that's blatantly coming straight out and telling you, this ain't no theory. They got actual body doubles. Believe it or not, it's true.
What was Iraq really hiding? There is a theory that suggests the United States stayed in Iraq for over 10 years after its liberation, not for oil, but for something much more powerful. In the 1920s, a British explorer allegedly discovered what was believed to be the oldest known Stargate in the world at the site now known as the Great Ziggurat. However, in the 1980s, Saddam Hussein fortified the ancient complex to prevent explorers from seeing what was hidden inside, or so the government claimed. Furthermore, strange ancient technologies have been observed outside the Great Ziggurat, rumored to originate from an ancient civilization living on the hidden planet Nibiru, accessed through the Stargate. Recently, numerous individuals claiming to have been involved in classified programs in Iraq have emerged, in which Stargate technology purportedly played a role, raising many questions about these missions. This would explain why the United States stayed so long in Iraq.
Now, I had a friend of mine who's really big into this type of stuff tell me a completely different story. He told me that there were some sort of scrolls or texts that were being withheld in Iraq and was keeping them in a bunker. The information on it was so great that they didn't want it to get out. Basically, they wanted to be these gatekeepers. Somehow the US got hold of some information that let them know that those scrolls were there and that they wanted to go in and get it. I don't know how true that story is, but I like the sound of it. It's another good theory.
The Titanic was a hit job.
Oh, Lord. Let's hear this.
It was no accident or mistake that the Titanic sank in 1912. You think all the richest people in the world on the world's safest boat dying in a single boating crash was an accident? There's not a chance.
Hey, this almost sounds like the Malaysian Airlines in a way.
Basically, all of the world's elites at the time had already purchased tickets and were scheduled to take this cruise together. You're talking about the Rothschilds, the JP Morgans, and Mr. Astor.
This is all news to me. I had no idea that the Rothschilds and the JP Morgans were trying to hop on this boat and sail across the ocean.
Who was the richest American at that time. He owned nearly 40% of every mortgage in America at that time. The story goes that the Rothschilds wanted to create a central bank, but Mr. Astor and many of his extremely rich friends, who basically controlled the country and all of its politicians, opposed the central banking system, and they would never allow a central bank in America. So when all the world's richest people boarded the ship right before the boat took off, the Rothschilds and JP Morgans all exited the ship just minutes before takeoff. So now all of the richest people who opposed the central banking system ended up dying from an iceberg. And now that all of the rich people who opposed it are dead and no longer paying or bribing all of their politicians ended up working for the Rothschilds and JP Morgans instead, who were still alive and able to bribe them without any opposition now. The very next year, in 1913, they started the Federal Reserve Bank with almost zero opposition. Crazy conspiracy theory or TikTok fact? Let me know your own thoughts in the comments.
Ooh, this is a good one. If his information matches and aligns up with those timelines of those events occurring, then I would believe it. Like I said, I have to do my own research to see if what he was saying is indeed true. But if it is, I believe it. But my whole thing is, how would J.P. Morgan and the Rothschilds convince the sailor of this boat to crash into an iceberg deliberately and potentially end his own life? Did he survive? So they might have paid him heavily. Comment down below. Y'all probably know more than I do, because I don't know if the sailor survived or not.
This may be the most proof I've ever seen that the Illuminati actually exist. In this clip, Simon Lou starts talking about the Illuminati, and he turns his attention to Andrew Garfield, and notice what happens next.
Illuminati real? And if so, why haven't I been invited? Garfield, where are you? I know you know. I know you know.
Whoa! I know you read his lips, and look at the expression on his face. He looks serious. He's like, shut the fuck up. Look, come on now.
I know you know.
Now let's look at that again. But that's nothing compared to this next one. Kelly Clarkson is interviewing Kevin Hart when she starts talking about being offered major money for sketchy things. Pay attention to Kevin's response.
Dollars in my face to do something I didn't want to do. And what?
Whoa!
You've been on, yeah. Oh, they're in the room.
Oh, you heard Kelly? She said, oh, they're in the room. Yo, no, okay. This is that much more believable because of the fact that it's Kevin Hart. Y'all know Kevin Hart is a fool. That man would be making jokes. Oh, what? You said they offered you a whole lot of money to do some stuff, and he would be making jokes about that. But no, Kevin over there is... Shut up. Shut up. They in this room. Woo, that's crazy.
It's almost like these actors know they shouldn't be talking about these things. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and follow for more creepy, dark, and interesting content.
Hey, Kevin was trying to get her to change the story, man. Wow.
I'm gonna blow your mind again. Ready?
Yeah, let me hear.
Check this out. Disney. Do you know why Disney characters wear gloves?
No. Why?
Check this out. The gloves Disney characters wear, it's resemblance to...
Disney characters don't have gloves on, bro.
What are you talking about? Disney characters don't have gloves.
Like, what do you mean? Like, the princesses?
No, look at Mickey.
Oh, okay.
Mickey, Goofy, whoever's in that crew.
Okay, so
they wear gloves.
Crew.
They wear gloves,
okay.
right? You know why?
Why?
Watch this.
Why? Why do they wear gloves? They're all murderers.
Check this shit out.
They're mass murderers.
Boom. Okay. So you're familiar with those gloves, right?
Yeah.
Mickey's wearing those gloves. It has like the 3 lines on it.
The infamous.
Yeah, the infamous gloves. Interesting. Why those gloves and why those 3 lines?
Okay.
Check this out. These gloves are the same gloves of the Freemasons.
Hey, slick. The Freemason gloves got them 3 lines on the 2. That's crazy.
No, of the Freemasons, bro.
No.
Crazy.
No
Crazy.
way.
That's why Mickey and all those random characters on Disney, fam, they all wear those gloves, bruh.
No.
Look at it. Those are the Freemason gloves. That's why they have the 3 lines on it. Specifically, those 3 lines. Where have we ever
seen those 3 lines on white gloves before? Yeah, I mean, the theory sounds outrageous, but he's making a point. I ain't even gonna hold you on that. Even though it's like, my gut don't want to believe it, but at the same time,
The World's Most Dangerous Conspiracy Theories, Season 2. This picture represents conspiracy theories from the most well-known to the darkest. Some of these theories say that once you learn the truth, there's no return. For this series, we're going to be picking a couple from each category until we reach Tier 10, the point of no return. Alright, Season 2, welcome to Tier 1. Today we're going to be talking about Ouija boards. A Ouija board is a board printed with numbers, letters, and symbols in hopes of communicating with the dead. The history of the Ouija board is just as mysterious as the game itself. A woman named Helen Peters claimed to be a very strong psychic and actually invented the board herself. Eventually, Helen Peters' brother-in-law named Elijah wanted to get these things patented so that he could sell these everywhere. Helen Peters and Elijah traveled everywhere trying to get this patent, but the offices said they couldn't release a patent unless they had proof of it working. But consequently, nobody in these offices wanted to even get close to the board for unknown reasons.
I don't blame him.
Until one day they traveled to Washington, D.C., and the chief of patent walked in the room and said, "You don't know me and I don't know you." Then he said, "If this board can tell me my name, I will sign the patent for you right now." The board apparently spelled the man's name. He walked out of the office, looked at Helen Peters and said, "You got your patent." Years later, Helen Peters and Elijah had a falling out, and Helen said she no longer wanted anything to do with this board. Elijah, on the other hand, continued selling these boards until one day he fell off of a 3-story building. He actually survived the fall, and some bystanders saw his body laying in the road. They picked him up, put him in the car, and they hit a bump in the road, and his broken rib pierced through his heart. After that, the family sold the rights to the board, and all the way up until Helen Peters' death, her last words is, "Do not play the Ouija board, it lies." And now you can buy a Ouija board from any store, and they're marketed to children. So the question remains, are these boards just a hoax, or was Helen Peters trying to warn us of something much darker?
I mean, heck, if this man is over here telling the truth in regards to the origin of the Ouija boards, then I believe it. She was trying to warn us. She was like, "I created these boards, but I created a monster when I did." Don't trust them. They lie.
Weird conspiracy theories. What if your pillow could collect your dreams and in the morning you could plug it in and watch it all over again? That'd be lit. What if we used to be able to make wishes, but someone wished we couldn't? Kind of insane. This is a photo from the 1940s of what many believe to be a megalodon shark swimming next to a U-boat.
But what if it's just 2 separate sharks? Maybe that's a possibility.
That's too much. What if the bruises and small cuts we randomly get are from our soulmates getting injured? That's a stretch. Many experts believe that by the year 2045, we'll achieve digital immortality, uploading our minds to a computer and back to a different body.
By 2045? Man, we're what, 21 and a half years away from that? We need more time.
What if Mr. Krabs is Pearl's sugar daddy, which is why she's always calling him daddy and asking for money?
But he calls her daughter, so that's a bit weird. Why did it have to end there?
Shit's getting weird, y'all.
Bro, it's snowing in the desert. That's crazy. In Saudi Arabia.
I mean, it's gotta be time for it. You got the desert, snow falling. What in the is really going on?
Yo, these camels are tripping. They don't know what to do. They're freezing and they don't understand why.
Or it could be hard. Ooh, Tremors. Who remembers the movie Tremors?
That just looked like maybe dirty, super muddy water and a boat was in it, causing those waves. I don't know. Looks like a bad storm to me.
This shit look like the Lion King.
The Lion King. Look like a hailstorm too.
Mufasa died in the canyon.
Look at that, y'all. Ice or snow. It looks more like ice in the desert.
Shit. They was just herding camels with a truck.
Look at all that.
We are in huge trouble.
Former President Donald Trump is among several current and former U.S. officials named in a potential assassination plot by Iran. According to a Yahoo News report, Iran is considering a plan to kill an American official in retaliation for a U.S. drone strike that killed an Iranian commander. NewsNation's Kelly Meyer is live in Washington with these new details. Kelly, how seriously is the government taking this threat?
What?
Well, Nicole, we're told the administration is watching these threats and flagging them for law enforcement agencies across the country. One expert we spoke with today telling us there's a real fear that Iran will act on what they say.
Damn.
I wish he would go somewhere. He getting on my nerves with his little reactions. I mean, if you gonna react, say something. Just what? Whoa, damn, yeah.
A new U.S. intelligence report warning Iran may be working to kill top U.S. officials. Among the targets, former President Donald Trump, former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, and U.S. General Kenneth McKenzie. This as revenge for the 2020 U.S. airstrike that killed Iranian commander Qasem Soleimani, the leader of Iran's notorious Quds Force and the mastermind of repeated attacks on American forces.
Bro, we're trying to watch the news here. Quiet down. At least pause if you're gonna say something.
In the region. The threat assessment, confirmed by News Nation, was sent to law enforcement offices nationwide last month. In it, the National Counterterrorism Center says Iran is advancing, quote, a multi-pronged campaign against several U.S. officials, especially those who played a role in the killing of Soleimani, adding it would view the killing of a U.S. official equivalent in rank as, quote, successful retaliatory actions. Even as Iran threatens former top U.S. officials, President Biden is in talks with Iran to revive the 2015 arms deal, designed to assure that Iran could not develop a nuclear weapon. Former President Trump rejected the pact shortly after taking office. Today in Israel, the president says the ball is now in Iran's court.
We are not going to wait forever.
Critics say the Biden administration is making a mistake in talking to the Iranian regime.
It makes no sense to be trying to reward a regime that is trying to kill, assassinate Americans, current and former U.S. officials. That there is continuity.
This is crazy.
4 decades, the Islamic Republic has tried to reach onto American soil. This is likely not the end of this story.
And Nicole, just moments ago, the National Security Council telling me that they couldn't talk about this specific document, but stressed that they will protect and defend its citizens, both former officials and those currently serving in office, saying, quote, we are united in our resolve against threats and provocations, and we will work with our allies and partners to deter and respond to any attacks carried out by Iran.
Anyway, y'all leave y'all thoughts, comments, and opinions down below. And I'm going to catch y'all in the next one. See ya.